born Tameeka Pigford, and I took on the name Meeks because I we used to go to church, and they used to say the meek shall inherit the earth. And I'm like, hey, that's going to be me. A lot of the people who got cool with me just kind of gave me Mika. My family members call me that for the most part. So different people call you different things in different stages in your lives. I think it was always in me. I grew up pretty, I wouldn't say I grew up without having a lot of things, and it was
Mm-hmm.
now where everyone had access to credit cards. So, for example, if I had $100 to go school shopping with, I had to be innovative. I had to get me some 5411s, and then whatever was left after that, I had to go to Conway and just piece things together. So I learned early on how to be eclectic with
Mm.
budget. Um, I Thank you for asking that question. So I grew up in the public school system of New York City. And when I got
Mm-hmm.
to college, I realized there were so many things that I was deficient in. And I
Mm.
was at 22, 23. So this was an opportunity for me to fill in their learning gaps with as much as I could. And each student, pretty much, I saw a piece of me in. The student that didn't love
Mm.
themselves, the student that was struggling, the student that was just going through setting healthy boundaries. So it was like, hey, let me pour into them because
Mm-hmm.
it's important that we sharpen each other. And because I saw what I didn't get, it was very important for me to give them those seeds and foundations early on so that they could survive. They may have not been the best student academically, right? So it was about academics, but it was also about them pulling from within because no matter academically or not, we are all born with gifts, and it's just a matter of us honing it. And in about I guess I got a Facebook page fairly late, about 2 or 3 years ago. My therapist suggested that I get it to keep in contact with my students. It's the best thing ever
Wow.
because I get to see their development, and so many of them are just like thriving and have their own
Mm-hmm.
business. And I wanted them to see that yes, it's important for you to give back to the community. I gave back to my community for 17 years, and it came to a point where I needed to just focus on a different path. And I wanted them
Mm-hmm.
to see, yes, you can go to college because I recommend that because it makes you a little bit more worldly and it expands your growth mindset. But also know
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't take anything away from you if you don't have that degree. And so just watching them now, it just makes my heart smile. I
The
have
day, actually.
Yes. So, as a school teacher in Brooklyn, I noticed like my students were just acting. Oh, I can't even explain it. I was just looking at
Mm.
what the heck is going on, and I started taking these workshops about explicit biases and implicit biases and all of these things, and learning about the school to prison pipeline and how certain
Mm-hmm.
images are associated with schools. And I said, let me. I looked up colors. I was like, well, let me change some things around in the classroom. And so I went, got blue
Mm.
and all these pops of color. Got my Himalayan salt lamp, my oil diffuser, got
Yes.
some clear Christmas lights, and the mood changed. And then the students came in, and I noticed like a 180 shift in their just overall development, just like their academic,
Mm.
their just the way they communicated with each other. Because these were kids that would come in the classroom and fight each other for sitting in their seat. That's not even assigned. But I was
Wow.
saying I noticed a huge change in the color. So I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And I also started learning about plants and the healing properties of them. And I started buying planters, and I was like, ooh, this is boring. And I started painting them however I was feeling. And my friends were like, oh, well, can you make me one? And I'm like, yes, I can. And so
Mm.
today I chose pink because it is universal love. And with so much
Mm.
pain in the world and inside of us, just wanted it to be a reminder that I am loved. I am love. And I just wanted a pop of color too.
Yes. Yes. It looks great on you, by the way. So what did your students ever say anything about like the colors? Like, did they ever notice it and say, like, Miss P, like, what'd you do to the room? Did they express it in words?
They definitely noticed, but more so they noticed it energetically. I needed
Mm.
them help me put the room together because it was our house, and I wanted them to feel as much as invested as possible. And so I used to have things written that where they can tag it up and have them say something nice about themselves. So, they like to tag up stuff. And I was
Mm-hmm.
specifically because it represented peace. So I don't necessarily know if they were able to articulate the colors, but I know they were able to articulate the feeling. They would come in if they had a Regents exam and like, let me smell the oils, or I would even put the oils in the rooms that they were in because I couldn't be with them. I would,
Mm-hmm.
they would come in and rub the salt lamp and all of those things.
Wow.
So one of the things that I knew is that color does help to um, to make us feel different things. And
Mm-hmm.
I was dealing with Title I students, and those are students who come from a low socioeconomic status. So not only are you dealing with them academically, you're dealing with them emotionally. You have to make them feel good before you can even teach them. And so the
Mm.
environment, they wouldn't even want to leave the classroom. They'd be like, Miss, can I stay? I'm like, no, sweetheart, you have to go. But I always wanted them to feel like they were home, and home was
Mm.
if they couldn't get it anywhere else, they could come and get a little piece in Miss P's classroom. So that was always the objective, was educating the heart, educating the mind all at one time.